nominee Ken Hodge Jr. hopes to see action later in the series. He suffered a separated shoulder in Game 7 against Montreal.
It was a Game 7 hit. You know, it's part of the game. You got to play it like that. Maybe during the regular season it might have been called. I don't know. But I'm a little bit disappointed that I can't play right now. And the guys are playing real well, and that's the most important thing. We're winning games.
The Boston Garden has shown its age in recent years and will soon give way to a new garden. A project just underway on the same site, but plagued by delays and financial problems.
We're still projecting that in the fall of '93, the Bruins will be skating in the new Boston Garden. And I have no reason to discount that right now. We hope that within the next 60 days that we'll have final documentation and commitments from the banks, and we'll be able to start construction immediately behind the old garden September of this year.
The most legendary of all Bruins is Bobby Orr, one of the most popular athletes this city has ever known. So popular that even 15 years after his retirement, Orr is one of Boston's most marketable figures and recognized faces. Speaking of greats, legendary Soviet Alexander Yakushev, now coach of Moscow Spartak, is a guest of the National Hockey League here along with 4 other Soviet coaches observing the playoff preparations of the Bruins and Penguins. And when these two teams play, there's often confusion about the two Borks. They're not brothers, but Bill does have a sibling with a superstar's name.
This is the real Ray Bourque, not the first Ray Bourque, the second Ray Bourque in Boston, but here he is.
Number 1 in your brother's heart. Is this a tough name to have in Boston?
It has its advantages.
Tell me about those.
Oh, you know, you get a lot of people asking for your autographs. So when you're out of town, they don't know that it's really, you know, they don't know the face of Ray Bourque, so that, you know, underneath the helmet, so they might not know.
But we all know that I'm the only Ray Bourque in Boston.
Bob Sweeney and Don Sweeney aren't brothers either, but Don Sweeney's joined us. That was a physical second period. It seems like a different hockey game than Game 1.
Yeah, it seems that the first game of the series is more of a feeling out process. The second game, teams are right at it. I mean, we're physical, and they came out. You know, they came out hard. Obviously, we want to continue to be on the body, and hopefully, we'll get a couple calls.
The Garden tests the durability of any player who plays here. The Bruins have always had a lot of injuries. How tough is it for a small defenseman like yourself to play 80 games here?
Well, you got to be able to get in and out of the corners as quickly as you can, and they'll come up on you quicker than most other buildings. But I sometimes have an advantage in the smaller building. I can get to things a little quicker than some of the other players. But containment's always a problem. You know, the Loneys and the Stevens. For the guys like me, you have to work a little extra hard.
I haven't had a chance during Hockey Night in Canada to talk to a Harvard graduate before. Tell me about going to school at Harvard.
Well, it was the best of both worlds for me, to tell you the truth. The opportunity to study at one of the finest institutions in the world and combine you know, one of the top-level hockey programs in the country was, you know, to me a dream come true, and I took full advantage of it. I enjoyed my 4 years there and got my degree, and hopefully it'll help on down the road. And good luck the rest of the way. We're going to let you get back to the dressing room. Thanks, Chris. Don Sweeney of the Boston Bruins, who plays it tough on defense, and you'll get a little indication of it here as he spars with Ron Francis. Live, this is Molson Hockey Night in Canada on CBC. However, and in spite of the fact the Penguins have outshot the Bruins 20-14, the score at the end of 40 minutes of play is Boston 3 and Pittsburgh 2. Molson, JR, and Sue Ellen, here's how the scoring unfolded. Tonight in the first period, Cam Neely with his 15th in as many games, and Mark Recchi assisted on Kevin Stevens' goal. 13 seconds later, Recchi has a 10-game point streak. Wesley with another power play goal for Boston, but Mario Lemieux, before the first period was over, tied the score with his first of the series. Here's how Lemieux did it. Randy Burridge leaves Lemieux open behind the net, and Mario shows his great reach with the wraparound goal past Andy Moog. It was 2-2 after 1. Ray Bourque scores in the first minute of period 2. Vladimir Ruzicka has 3 assists. Craig Janney has a pair of assists in this game. And here's a look at the goal by Ray Bourque. All 3 players who figured in on this scoring have 5 points in the series. Janney's been hot, and so is Ray Bourque beating Tom Barrasso. And so it's 3-2 as we get set for the third period of play in Boston. The 1991 Stanley Cup playoffs will return in a moment.